Hello, I'm Scott Soshnick.
And I'm Eben Novy-Williams, and this is the What Happens in Vegas Stays in Vegas sports business podcast, the Sporticast.
All right, we're talking with Joe Maloof, a part owner of the Vegas Golden Knights. And Joe, every episode I kind of rate Eben's opening after I say my name. Like, what happens in Vegas stays. It's cliche. It's tired. You chuckled, Joe, but were you chuckling at how bad it was, or were you chuckling because you liked it?
Yeah, that's old news. That saying, yesterday's newspaper.
Old Vegas.
Evans, he's got to get in today's time.
All right, so you know what? Now I like to put a little pressure on the guest, Joe. We're going to do it again, and you're going to be the one who comes up with the line. All right? See, they think it's easy, but here, I'm going to do it right now. You got to come up with the line. Come in, 3, 2, 1. Hello, I'm Scott Soshnick.
The greatest city in the world, Las Vegas.
All right, the greatest city. Went a little, put it up in lights. But, Joe, you and I have known each other a very long time, dating back to the Kings days. And I remember being, with David Stern. I remember Oscar Goodman coming to our old headquarters with Showgirls, trying to bring sports to Las Vegas. You guys are like the sports capital of the world. I can't even remember when Vegas wasn't a sports town. So give me the insider look at sort of the campaign and, like, what it has become.
Well, you want me to go back to where how the Knights got here in Las Vegas?
Go. You were first, man. You guys laid the groundwork. Go for it.
Yeah, we did. My brother, well, when we sold the Kings, it was tough to do that. It really was. It's like nothing I've ever done before. I was sad. I'll have to admit it. It hurt. I love the Kings, still do. I root for them, but I love the NBA. It was great. But anyway, when we were meeting with the Board of Governors in New York to sell the Kings, there was a meeting there. Gavin and I flew to New York, and I told Gavin, and Gavin had been an advocate of this for many years, that Las Vegas needed its own team, because we were rooting for every other team or whatever, but there was enough population here and enough interest to have our own team here in Las Vegas. So we thought, well, we're going to sell the Kings. Let's do the next best thing. We'll go to the NHL and see Gary Bettman. So we made an appointment that same day that we met with the NBA owners. We went and met with Gary and all of his group and said, you really need to look at Las Vegas as a potential city. Well, you guys don't have an arena and et cetera, et cetera. And I said, well, they'll build one. I know how this city is. It's incredible how fast things move here in this city. So he said, well, go back and he shook his head like that. And he said, go back. And so Gavin and I flew back to Las Vegas, and then we had an attorney that knew Bill Foley in Jacksonville, Florida. So we said, well, let's go see Foley and see if he'd be interested in hockey or originally we were looking at football, but that was out of our league. So we thought,
that's out of almost everybody's league, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, now you need 10 guys to be able to buy a team. Those franchises are magnificent.
Oh, now you're turning this into the Josh Harris episode.
yeah. But so anyway, we came back. We flew to Florida. We met with Foley, and we all discussed it. And then all of us as a group went and we started. It was about a 3.5-year process. We were involved with the MGM in developing the arena and where it was going to go. And so we met with their people for over 1.5 years, 2 years, and then, of course, with the NHL throughout the process. And we knew right from the start, it's been magnificent. It's not a tremendous success story. So that's how it ended. And then we went 3 years, we got the sponsorship, we went out. Bettman said, you got to sell a certain amount of season tickets. We went out and sold the season tickets. Still didn't know the price of the franchise. I thought the price would be around $250.
Whoops.
It got up to $500 million, which was big back then. That was 10 years ago now. So
yeah, to put that number
anyway,
in context.
that's the story. And then we got the franchise, and it's been great.
To put that number in context, Joe, $500 million is what the new MLS team just paid for San Diego, the expansion fee there, just to show how different that number is now versus what it was a decade ago.
Yeah, there's no greater investment than a sports franchise. And now what's happened, since we sold our team, we got the most for an NBA team in the history, that type of thing. But everyone had been valuing it down here, even Forbes. They had the wrong valuation. They didn't know how powerful these teams are. There's only a certain amount, a finite amount in the whole world. So if you have an opportunity to be involved because that franchise is going to appreciate.
All right, hold on, Joe. I want to see you smile widely. All right, you ready for this one? All right, I can do it simply by teeing it up that way, but I want to see the wide smile. You ready for this?
Yeah.
The Ottawa Senators are going to sell for $1 billion, Joe.
Yeah. Well, now with streaming and everything, it's the only thing that you can see live on television and have it be unexposed where it hasn't been seen before. So it's huge. The values are going to continue to go up. Our value skyrocketed. I don't know what the Knights are worth now, but they got to be north of $1 billion.
Oh, for sure.
We have them at 975, but I assume
if
the Senators are going to sell for $1 billion, the Knights would sell for certainly.
It's a recalibration, yeah. It's a recalibration of the entire market.
Look what Sarver got in Phoenix, $4 billion. I mean, wow. I remember when Jerry Colangelo had them, and he sold it for like $400 million.
Are you like me? And my wife hates this, but I'll play the what if game. Do you go back and play the what if game? What if we'd held? What if we didn't sell? What if?
Of course, yeah. All the time, as a matter of fact. You look back but one thing I finally started to learn is that you got to move forward. Took me a while. It stung for a while. It really did me. I took it probably worse than anybody. Gavin was pretty. But then, you have to move on with life, and there's other things. And we focused, and we're doing really well now, and we're really happy.
Give me a glimpse at the business of the Knights. You have an arena. You have a great live event feel. I don't think enough sports teams do enough to discern that in-arena experience. I have been to a Knights game, and it is different. You really ratchet up the entertainment value of it all. Just give us a look behind the curtain onto the business side of the Knights and how things are going.
Well, first, every game sold out. Completely sell out, every game. All the playoff games have sold out. And tickets going for crazy prices now on the other open market. But all this games sold out. The concessionaires are thrilled. All the people that are involved with the team, the different, the different franchises that jumped on board right away, they're all excited about it. The whole city is enamored with the team. It's been one big love affair since the beginning, and they've really supported this team. We had a couple bumps in the road, and they were right there, solid as a rock. So behind the scenes, great on the concessions, sold out every night. I would say a golden star for the NHL on how a franchise should be run. Bill Foley, he's done a tremendous job, and the people that he has working for him. So it's just been great so far. Everything, knock on wood.
Everybody around the NHL talks about the Vegas game experience, the Blue Man Group, who's singing the anthem, the parade leading into the games. How much of that is the city, the fact that you're in Vegas, the entertainment capital of the country, and how much of that is this ownership group and you guys recognizing that needed to be a priority for the franchise?
Yeah. Well, throughout my life, we're the only family in the United States to ever have two NBA franchises. We had the Rockets, my dad, and they went to the NBA Finals against the Celtics. We ran into a guy named Larry Bird. And then, with our ownership of the Kings, so I know one thing. If you don't take care of the fan, the most important person in the world, you're dead. They'll leave like that, and they have a right to leave because out of the whole equation, the most important is the customer, that fan. And if you can do things that other teams don't do to make that fan a little more excited about your team, you're going to build a phenomenal base, which we have here in town. We've got little hockey teams, women's and men, girls and boys hockey teams. You can't get any ice time here. We've built 2 practice facilities with ice, and those are completely sold out. So it's been great.
We're chatting with Joe Maloof, investor in the Vegas Golden Knights. And Joe, you know my job here. That's to get you in trouble. And I love, I relish that opportunity. Better game experience. And keep in mind, I was there in the heyday with you, sitting in those very same seats. Arco Arena, Shaq, Kobe against Vlade and Weber and a playoff game, or Vegas Golden Knights Stanley Cup Finals. What's a better game experience?
Well, I don't know. That's a hard one, man. but I got to say one thing. When we owned that team, the Kings, we ran into Kobe and Shaq at their prime. And we had a great team. And I used to ask our GM, I don't know, I get off track sometimes, but I used to ask our GM, Jeff Petrie, I used to ask him, would you rather have one superstar or 3 great players on your team? He said one superstar. They had 2, and they had 2 that were in their prime. We got close, but didn't quite do it.
Yeah, you got really close. Speaking of just getting close, tell me about sort of Vegas, the transformation of Vegas as a town. The one reason I was never convinced that sports would succeed in Vegas all those years ago is I just didn't think like the most powerful lobby out there, that the casino lobby, they wanted everybody to stay in their buildings, right? It was always, no, they don't want anything that would take customers away from the casino. That was viewed as bad. But it changed. It all changed. I think it's become now just whatever brings people to Vegas is good for everybody. How did that change occur? When did you see it happening? And how about that lobby, the importance of having the casino lobby on your side?
Well, there were the people like Steve Wynn that saw it, and MGM saw it. They saw the future. My brother Gavin, for 10 years, he used to say, that city needs their own team. And I would think the way you did. I was somebody that didn't really have that belief in it, because I thought it was, the casinos would want their customers to stay inside and gamble, but that's all nonsense now. What it does, it puts Las Vegas as a major city. Now they're in the same talk, Phoenix, Philadelphia, New York, LA. We have our own teams here now. We got 2 of them, probably another one coming, maybe another 2 coming. So it's magnified the city, and what the city means is that it's not just a gaming or a gambling town. It's an entertainment town that is a sports town now. We're getting the Formula One here. That's coming in November. That's bigger than this. I hate to say it, but it's like 5 or 6 times bigger than the Super Bowl. It's the biggest event in the world, because you get all those countries, Italy, France, etc., Mexico, And so it's meant so much to the city to get sports here. And what happened is these casino owners started to realize, hey, we went through some tough times. When we had the Palms, there were some tough times there. The entire economy was down here in Las Vegas. So I think they needed something to give the city a little drive and to, get all the people, the locals, excited about something. And that's when they started to turn a little bit. And then we went and saw the governor, myself and Gavin and Bill Foley. We went and saw the governor. We saw the mayor. Saw all the politicians when we were going to bring the Knights here to Las Vegas.
Joe, is there a saturation point? We have the Knights, we have the Raiders, we have F1, the Oakland A's may be coming. I know the NBA is looking at Vegas as well. At what point is there too many, or does that not happen? Yeah,
I get that. You're right. That could happen very easily, because this city's still only 2.5 million. I mean, it's growing, but it's not. It's 2.5, 3 million people. Phoenix is 8, so you have to be careful there. And there are. The NBA, if you look at the NBA, I'm sure they'll come someday. I can't speak for them, of course, but I know one thing, that they do tremendous with the summer league here. They sell out every game. They sell out. I mean, people from all over the country are starting to come here for the summer league. And when would you think that would happen? It's a vibrant city. It's a magnificent city. It's really part of LA almost. If you look at it, we're in their backyard. So that's hard to say, but I don't think you have to be careful. This is enough. The baseball comes, I think it's enough for a while, because when they come, they're going to take a lot of sponsorships and season tickets, and I think the city can support it, and I'm in favor of it. But now you have 3 major franchises. The Raiders, of course, they've done great. Mark Davis done a great job. Spectacular. The best stadium in NFL is right here, Vegas. I'm not bragging, it's just the facts. He did a great job. Mark Davis did.
To your point, Joe, about the NBA, if you had asked me a decade ago, who's the first league to play in Vegas, the NBA would have been, in my opinion, the obvious choice. Yeah. Now it looks like it may be the last major of the big 4 U.S. leagues to have a team in Vegas. Does that surprise you that all of this came to Vegas and the NBA actually wasn't a part of it fully?
Well, like I said, they've done so well with the summer league. I mean, they do really well there, and I don't know how Stern felt. I used to get mixed messages from him.
Sometimes, I can tell you, Joe, right? I told this story to somebody this morning, as a matter of fact. David once said to me when we were talking about all the gambling, and he said, this is not about morals. I know everybody thinks it's about morals. David looked at me and he said, Scott, do you know when we're going to get into gambling? When there's enough money at stake for us to get into gambling. That was flat. That was David's comment, and he just looked at me with like a little chuckle, and he was a man of his word, because that's exactly what has happened. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, Stern, he was something else. He used to give me mixed signals, though, all the time. But I think Adam realizes, to make sure that whatever team comes in next, that the city can support it. They're not going to come in here and where they have to compete for the dollar, because it's too hard to do. You have too many ups and downs throughout an ownership period. You have a lot of ups and a lot of downs as well. So the teams, sometimes they're hot one year, 2 years, and then they fall off.
Yeah, like you said, you need to, if you cater to the customer. And what does that mean? I mean, it's easy to say, but what does catering to the customer mean to you?
Here's what I used to do, and I did it a million times. You can check it. And it's not bragging, it's just how I was brought up. My father, 2 things. Take care of your employees and take care of your customers. Very simple, but it works. And we have been successful in business throughout the years. And what I used to do, if there was an angry fan, I'd go down, meet him. I'd walk him to the team store. I'd get him a jersey, things like that. I mean, if someone asked me where this particular concession was, I would walk the gentleman or the lady to the concession stand. I would do whatever it took. I would return all my phone calls. I used to get a lot of phone calls. I made sure I returned every call before sunset. The little things, and we would have season ticket meetings like all the other teams do. We didn't do anything special. We just made sure that if you were a season ticket holder of the Kings, you were like a god. That's how we treated them as best we could. Now, we raised ticket prices, stuff like that. But for the most part, we respected every season ticket holder. That's how you do it. You can't sit up like in the old days. All the owners used to sit up in those suites, away from the court. They got to get down on the court with the fans, with the customers, so you can feel the game. You get a feel of the game right there, being down on the floor rather than up in the suite.
I wrote a column years ago, and I didn't mean this literally, but I wrote a column that said, after talking to Bob Kraft before one of his Super Bowls, and I asked him, hey, Bob, you were a season ticket holder. Do you remember your location? And he said, section this, row this, seat this. He's like, I remember when those benches were so cold in the winter months, your tush would freeze. So I loved. He knew what it meant to be a season ticket holder. I tongue in cheek, but you'll understand what I mean when I say that a prerequisite to owning a team should be you had to be a season ticket holder, so you know about driving in and traffic and you can't get out of a stadium and the concessions are no good and the bathroom line is too long. You have to really understand it.
Yes, absolutely. You have to know it from A to Z. You got to know every step to take care of that customer. You know, you can't satisfy all of them. You try, though, but you try. And if you have one, I'll tell you, a dissatisfied customer will do more to hurt you than a satisfied customer will do to help you. If they're, upset with you or whatever the word is, pissed at you, you better take care of him, or you better find out what it is, or he's going to tell this guy, and it's going to spread pretty quickly. And that's the old-fashioned way. Now with social media, you're dead if you don't take care of somebody.
This extends obviously to fans when they're at home as well, Joe. The next year, the Golden Knights will be, I think, the first NHL team to have their games broadcast locally on free TV as opposed to on an RSN. Yeah. Less money, obviously, but more reach and a happier fan. I assume that's part of what you're talking about too, correct?
Yeah, I'm sure Foley realizes there's going to be a lot of competition here now with the Raiders. We love them here though. I'm so excited to be a Raider. I'm a Raider fan. We love the Raiders, but there's going to be competition, and if the NBA comes, or I'm sure Major League Baseball is probably going to come. The A's, we welcome them here with open arms. That's how they are in this city. But he realized you're going to have competition. He's going to have some competition, so he's got to do whatever he can to try to keep the fans behind this team, which they are right now.
I thought you guys were in trouble that you went to the Stanley Cup Finals, excuse me, in your first year. That's a really difficult standard to set in year one, because there's really, such a letdown if you don't make the playoffs or if you don't win the next year. Yeah. But you have found, and I think because it was so early, maybe it was a blessing, you've established sort of an excellence, and the fans were there. They really got excited in year one.
Well, you have to give Gary Bettman all the credit for that, because he's very smart when we went into Las Vegas, because the number of players that a team could hold back, they increased that. They increased it. So that allowed us to get one of the best goalies in the world, and et cetera, et cetera. I'm not good with the hockey players' names yet. I try to be. I'm not too good. So I'm an old basketball guy, but I love the NHL. I think this NHL is just on the verge of going through the really, really exploding.
Because why are you so confident? And you said the values of the teams are just going to keep going up. You see no danger?
There's a little danger. You never say never. There's a little danger. It depends on what these streaming. It depends on what televised sports looks like in the future. Is it gonna be streamed? Is it gonna be on free television, cable, etc.? And so you can only. Well, the old thought was you're only going to get so much out of these networks, but these networks are paying it. They're paying exorbitant prices, which is great for the leagues and great for the teams. So if that slows down, then you might have a little problem. But right. But like I said, there's only 32 NFL teams in the whole world. These things are like gold. They're better than any land you can pick out. Pick any real estate project. There's nothing like an NFL team. Really, come on. It's like a priceless Picasso. You can't get them. So what's going to happen? The value's going to go up. Now, there's less and less people that can afford them individually. You're going to have conglomerates and groups of people maybe, or I don't know if it'll ever get, be sold to corporations, but who knows? I'm
an NHL fan, so you tell me, you're happy with where things are? I'm a big fan of if somebody touches the NHL, if they go to a game, they become a fan.
Oh, yeah.
But you still need to reach the size of the audience for hockey is not the size of the NBA, is not the size of the NFL. And I know Gary gets mad. I'm not comparing the NHL to the NFL. You can have a wonderful business. You don't have to be the NFL. But right. You are always, you as an owner, a league commissioner, you are always looking to grow your fan base. How do you grow the NHL fan base?
Well, number one, look at Seattle. Jesus, look what's happened there. That was a boy there he's very smart, Bettman, to go into Seattle. Very great idea. So now you got Vegas and Seattle, two markets that are growth markets that are excellent. You'll grow your base there. But, you know, how are you going to compete with the NFL? You can't, really.
You don't.
But, you know, you could do all the things in the world, but I don't see it, man. I don't see it. The NFL is the most powerful league in the world. You know, it just, there's nothing like it. It's part of America. Everybody loves it. Everybody watches it, and they put on a hell of a product. I love it. I love the NFL.
We're recording this before Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Finals, but Vegas won Game 1, 3 games away from the first championship in the Vegas pro sports era. I have high expectations for that parade if it does happen. I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but how big a deal will that be given the celebration and party culture of Vegas as it is adding on to the championship?
I'd say the biggest thing that ever happened to the city. Over and out. No, nothing bigger. I don't see anything bigger. You know, the Aces, they won the WNBA, which was great. The city really supports them. They've done a hell of a job. They get good attendance. But
they've got a great real estate play in the new facility.
Yeah. That's Mark Davis. He's done great with them. But I'd have to. I'm trying to think what would be bigger. You know, this Formula One's going to be huge, but nothing like this, because this is their team. They own it. It's not the Rangers, or it's not another team that they bought Bruins that they've rooted for all their lives, because there's nothing else to root for. But they took possession of this team, and they're rabid fans. And I think basically they used to say that each NHL city had maybe 20,000 rabid fans, and that was about it. But I don't see that here. I see it as hundreds of thousands of fans that really love this team. I do. I don't see it as just a niche amount of fans. It's widespread here.
Joe,
all over the state, Nevada.
Yep. Did you get caught napping, Joe? How does Mark Davis reel in Tom Brady as an LP? Come on. Who are you looking at? Who else can you bring into the Knights franchise that helps out? Anybody you targeting?
No, I think they've done a good job, man. I mean, you got to give all the credit to Foley, but I give a little bit to me and Gavin and myself, because, you know, we're the founding partners. We started this whole thing. We went to the NHL, and everybody said, "Oh, no one will ever put a team in Vegas because of the gambling." But look what's happened since we made our trip to see Bettman. And you got to give Bettman credit. He took the step. He's the first guy. He had some guts to do that.
All right, let's close with this, though. If the prices are escalating the way they are, and again, if the Ottawa Senators sell for $1 billion, sheesh, who knows what your stake is worth, and you do have that love and you said of passion for the NBA, any desire for the family to get back into basketball?
That would be a dream come true. I love the NBA. We had 2 franchises. My dad had one. You know, we have a great history with the NBA. You know, maybe someday, who knows? It could happen.
All right. By the way, my favorite story about your dad, and I think my father, who, as you know, was in the military, is the same way. When you guys were working in the factory, you started at the bottom, and I think that's a big reason for why you guys are the way you are. You had to sweep the factory. You had to drive the trucks. You had to know what a good day's order was. It wasn't like, oh, meet the senior vice president, my son. You didn't just start in the executive suite. No.
We started sweeping the floors in the warehouse, loaded trucks, worked on beer trucks. Incidentally, that Bud Light thing is really something else. I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen a boycott like that on any product. It blew my mind. I don't know how it's doing in the stadiums or arenas. I don't know how it is, but that was something else.
Well, you have to be concerned about that, though, as a professional sports team owner. I mean, I look around the Dodgers just got, they just stepped in it in their Pride Night. Or how do you stay clear? I mean, do you think about that? How do you stay clear of this controversy?
I think you're there to please the fans, to entertain the fans. That's it. You don't need to be political. You can't do it. You get too many fans mad at you. You need those fans. You can't take a stand you just gotta stay neutral. You can't take stands like that. I don't know, but maybe I can't speak for the Knights, obviously, but I would stay. I wouldn't get political.
What beer you pouring at T-Mobile?
Coors.
Well, and you had the Coors Light. You were the Coors distributor down in the Southwest.
Yeah.
All right.
We had Coors for years.
Yep, makes sense. All right. Well, my son is 14, draft eligible in 4.5 years. So, when you need a goalie to...
You don't change.
No.
Yeah, you look great. I didn't know Eben too well, but you look great.
He looks terrible. He looked much better 5-10 years ago. He looks terrible now, but you don't know that. Yeah, thank you for that, Kyle. You too, Joe. I appreciate it.
Oh, okay.
I don't have the stress of winning and losing games. That's why.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You got it. Thank you, Joe, and good luck in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Thank you, guys.
All right, see you later.
See you.